How long do leaves take to become humus? The shocking truth gardeners must know. If you've ever raked a pile of fall leaves and thought, I'll just let them rot down for the garden, you're not alone. Leaves are nature's gift-free mulch, compost, and organic matter just waiting to be used. But here's the shocking truth. Turning those dry, crunchy leaves into rich black humus doesn't happen overnight. In fact, it can take anywhere from a few months to several years depending on how you handle them. That's right, leaves don't just magically turn into humus by sitting in a pile. If you've ever left leaves at the corner of your yard only to find a soggy, half-rotted mess years later, you know what I mean. The good news? With the right techniques, you can speed up this natural process and transform your leaves into gardener's gold faster than you ever thought possible. As a fellow gardener sharing this through Soilpower, I'm here to break down exactly how long it takes, why it takes that long, and what you can do to take control of the process. Let's dig in. What exactly is humus? Before we talk timing, let's clear up what humus actually is. Humus isn't just rotted leaves. It's the final stable form of organic matter after microbes, fungi, and worms have broken everything down. Unlike half-finished compost, which still looks like the original material, humus is dark, crumbly, and, rich in nutrients. It holds water like a sponge, improves soil structure, and feeds beneficial microbes for years. Think of it as the end product of decomposition, the stuff every gardener dreams of having in their soil. So when we ask, how long do leaves take to turn into humus? What we're really asking is, how fast can we get those leaves from raw, tough material into black gold for our garden beds? Here's the truth that surprises many gardeners. Leaves can take anywhere from 6 months to 3 years to fully turn into humus. Why such a wide range? Well, it depends on several factors. First, leaf type really matters. Oak leaves are tough and waxy, so they break down slowly. Maple or fruit tree leaves, on the other hand, decompose much faster. Then there's moisture. Dry leaves just sit there, but moisture actually fuels microbial activity. Airflow is important too. Without oxygen, decomposition slows down and can even turn slimy. Temperature plays a role as well. Warmth speeds things up, while cold really slows things down. And finally, leaf preparation makes a difference. Whole leaves decompose slowly, but shredded leaves, they break down in a fraction of the time. If you leave leaves in a pile at the back of your garden, they might just sit there for years before turning into humus. But if you manage things correctly, you can actually speed that process up to under a year, sometimes as little as 6 to 9 months. So why do leaves break down slowly? The biggest challenge with leaves is lignin. That's a natural compound that makes leaves tough and resistant to decay. While microbes can easily munch through green kitchen scraps, lignin really slows them down. This is why, if you've ever seen a pile of leaves after 2 years, you'll still recognize them. They compress, get soggy, and mat together, starving the microbes of air. Instead of rich humus, you end up with slimy muck. So the trick is not just waiting, but managing the leaves in a way that helps decomposition happen faster. Speeding up the process from years to months, here's where you, as the gardener, can step in and take control. If you want humus in less than a year, don't just dump your leaves in a pile. Treat them right, and they'll reward you with black gold much faster. Shred your leaves. Whole leaves act like a waterproof mat, blocking air and water. Shred them with a lawnmower or leaf shredder before piling them. Smaller pieces mean more surface area for microbes to work on, and that alone can cut decomposition time in half. Balance the brown and green. Leaves are high in carbon or brown material. To break down quickly, they need nitrogen or green material, like grass clippings, vegetable scraps, or even manure. A good rule is 3 parts leaves to 1 part greens. Keep it moist but not soggy. Your leaf pile should feel like a wrung-out sponge. Too dry and nothing happens. Too wet and it turns anaerobic. Water it occasionally during dry spells to keep things moving. And turn the pile regularly. Every few weeks, grab a fork and turn your pile. This mixes in oxygen, prevents matting, and keeps microbes active. Okay, so if you want to supercharge the process, just add a few shovels of finished compost, some garden soil, or even old manure to your pile. This introduces microbes and worms right away. If you follow these steps instead of waiting years, your leaves will be unrecognizable within 6 to 9 months while on their way to becoming rich humus. Leaf mold versus humus. Don't confuse the two. Here's another, shocking truth. What most gardeners call humus from leaves is actually leaf mold. Leaf mold is the product of fungi breaking down leaves into a dark, crumbly material. It's fantastic for holding water and improving soil structure, but it's not quite the same as humus, which is the final microbially stable stage of decomposition. So what's the difference? Well, leaf mold is usually ready in about 1 to 2 years, and it's just amazing for mulching and improving soil texture. On the other hand, true humus takes a bit longer to form, but it's really the ultimate soil conditioner, feeding your plants for years to come. The good news is, you really don't have to choose between the two. Leaf mold is a super useful product all on its own, and over time it naturally transitions into humus once it's in the soil. Now, if you want to speed things up even further, just invite earthworms to the party. Worms eat those decomposing leaves and excrete castings, which, honestly, are one of the richest forms of humus on Earth. By mixing shredded leaves into your compost bin or directly into garden beds, you create a buffet for worms. Their constant churning, eating, and casting accelerates humus formation in ways microbes alone just can't match. In fact, vermicomposting, worm composting, with shredded leaves and kitchen scraps can produce usable humus-like castings in as little as 3 to 6 months. When I first started gardening, I thought tossing leaves in the corner of the yard would give me free compost. But 3 years later, I still had a pile that looked suspiciously like leaves. It wasn't until I learned to shred balance with greens and keep the pile moist that I actually started seeing results. These days I just mow over my leaves in fall, mix them up with grass clippings, and stack everything into a bin. By the following summer I've got a pile of dark, crumbly material that smells just like the forest floor. Rich humus, really, ready for my Soilpower beds. Honestly, that transformation from wasted piles to rich black gold is what keeps me motivated to share this knowledge with you. So how long do leaves take to turn into humus? Well, the shocking truth is, left alone, it can take several years. Managed correctly, though, it's usually under a year. And with worms, sometimes just a few months. It all depends on how much effort you put in. The key is shredding, balancing, keeping moisture right, and letting worms and microbes do the heavy lifting. The beauty is that every gardener has access to this free resource. Leaves fall every year like clockwork. You just need to catch them and give them a little push in the right direction. So here are some final thoughts, and, well, a little challenge for you. Leaves aren't waste. They're actually the building blocks of healthy, humus-rich soil. The next time fall hits and you're tempted to bag them up for the curb, just stop for a moment. Instead, take charge of the process and create your own humus factory right in your backyard. Your soil will thank you, your plants will thrive, and you'll never look at a pile of leaves the same way again. If you found this guide useful, make sure you subscribe to Soilpower on YouTube for more down-to-earth gardening tips that transform your soil into a powerhouse. And hey, don't forget to share this article with a fellow gardener. Let's spread the humus truth far and wide.